Ian Garry was fighting the perfect fight, but the problem was he couldn't do it forever. Let's break it down. For context, this was a fight between two young, up-and-coming prospects, Ian Garry and Carlos Prates. For Garry, he was coming off a tough loss to Shavkat Rakhmonov where he lost his undefeated record, but his stock didn't really drop that much because he was coming in on short notice, and he was the first person to take Shavkat the distance. For Prates, he was coming into the UFC on a crazy run, 4 straight knockouts, 4 straight performance of the night bonuses, so this was definitely going to be a tough challenge for both guys. But early on, it was all Garry because Garry was able to establish the distance and fight at a range that he was comfortable with. Prates is a pressure fighter by nature, so he's looking to walk his opponents down, but Garry was doing a great job of changing up the angles and varying up his attack. Like right here, he's going to throw that lead hook, then he's going to feint at Prates to back him up, and then he's going to throw an oblique kick. And that just gives Prates a bunch of different looks, and it makes Garry unpredictable. And it's hard to walk down somebody that's changing angles and being unpredictable. A big weapon for Garry in this fight was the open side kick because Prates has a dangerous left hand, and that kick occupies that hand, forces him to defend with it rather than being able to throw it. And when Prates does decide to throw the hand, Garry is perfectly out of range. Right here, look at Garry's perfect understanding of range. Right as Prates steps into range, Garry is immediately throwing that lead hook, and it catches Prates off guard. Garry throws another high kick off the jab right here. And like I said, Garry was doing a great job of switching up the attacks, like with this front kick right here. Then he tries to time a takedown. He doesn't get it, but it gets Prates thinking, which is smart, but that's also going to be a detriment to him later. On the other side, for Prates, because his style's not very movement heavy and he's kind of just plodding forward, that's the reason why he's getting hit with so many pot shots from Garry. But that's also going to be an advantage for him later because he's not using as much energy as Garry is. Here's another example of Garry controlling the range. So Prates is going to throw this kick from kicking range, but instead of Garry backing off away from the kick, he's going to go into the kick and change the range and make it a close range fight. Prates is on one leg, so he's unable to counter. Garry is going to let off a combo, and Prates is forced to just defend. Right here, you see Garry feinting and changing angles, not letting Prates just walk him down. Prates starts getting impatient and starts reaching for the punches, but Garry understands his range perfectly. We talked about the lead hook earlier, but the lead hook was such a great weapon for Garry because you can see with the way Prates defends, he is a Muay Thai fighter. He likes to be light on that lead leg. So when Garry was coming in, Prates occasionally would lift up that lead leg to defend. So Garry throwing that lead hook gets him to the advantageous position and the outside angle. Once again, we're going to see Garry throw the high kick to occupy that left hand. And then Garry again is going to show the takedown. He doesn't try to really get it, but it's a different look. Garry also had great recognition of when Prates' hand was low. Typically, you're not able to land the jab in open stance because that lead hand is blocking each other. But when one hand is low and not protecting the face, you are able to jab them freely. After that, you see Prates has Garry where he wants him, up against the fence, but Garry is going to disengage and circle away until he's ready to strike, and then he's going to throw that lead hook to get off the fence. And like we talked about, because Garry has his hands high, you see when Prates tries to throw this lead hook, he has to get past the hand, the elbow, and the shoulder of Garry to land clean. Another example of Garry not being predictable. So once again, he's in the same scenario. Prates has pressured him along the fence. Instead of circling out, Garry is just going to get physical and throw hard to back Prates up. Great timing by Garry right here to duck under the left hand and clinch with Prates momentarily. And then another hard high kick by Garry. After throwing that high kick, he's going to try to trick Prates and go to the body, but Prates is aware of it. Another good reaction from Garry to duck under the left hand of Prates. And it's because Prates isn't setting up that left hand at all. He's just throwing it because he's frustrated, and Garry is keeping the distance well so he's able to see it coming. One more thing I want to mention about the lead hook from Garry is you can see that one of Prates' favorite weapons is this knee that he catches a lot of people coming in with. And so that lead hook of Garry allows him to take the angle away from that knee, away from the left hand of Prates, and give him a better position. Here's another example of Garry fighting smart. He's going to throw this body kick. Prates is going to look to mirror him with his own body kick, but Garry is just going to completely disengage. Here again, Garry is going to utilize the left hook to interrupt the kick of Prates. This is great fight IQ from Garry. So Prates is going to look to hand fight with Garry, but right when he stretches out his hands to try to make contact with Garry, Garry is just going to shoot the jab right down the middle and catch him. And once again, we see Garry utilize the left hook to circle away from the left kick of Prates. Great timing on this takedown by Garry as Prates is coming in, but great takedown defense from Prates. Right here, we're going to see that same instance of Prates looking to hand fight with Garry and Garry just shooting the jab down the middle. But then Prates is actually able to land the jab. To slow it down, Garry is going to feint at Prates, but instead of having a defensive reaction like Garry is expecting, Prates is going to look to punch with him and respond with offense, and that catches Garry off guard. Once again, we see Garry switching it up, being versatile in his offense. So he feels that Prates is pressuring him along the fence. So he's first going to change levels into the left hook. That causes Prates to go high guard. Garry is going to feint the right hand and then go with the left uppercut between the guard of Prates, and it lands. After landing that uppercut, Garry starts getting aggressive, first with that right hand to the body and then a big swing to Prates' head. And then once again, Garry utilizing this high kick. But right here, Prates starts feeling himself a little bit. Good head movement, and you can tell he's feeling himself because he's moving his arms around, but Garry does not play into it. He stays calm, and he creates distance with oblique kicks, with his front kick right here, and then he's able to land the jab at the end. This was a beautiful exchange. So Prates has his hands low. He's going to throw an up jab, and Garry knows that the left hand is following up. So Garry is going to slip his head to the outside, and he's going to try to come back with his own right hand, but Prates smartly clinches and gets in close range, so he's not able to land. This is small, but I love this check by Garry right here. Another perfect example of range and distance management. So Garry is going to let Prates walk into his range, and then he's going to sit down, change levels, and land this nice elbow on Prates as his weight is coming forward. Prates could just never be sure whether Garry was going to sit down and throw punches, whether he was going to feint at him, whether he was going to disengage and circle away, whether he's going to get hit with a jab, an oblique kick, a front kick, a lead hook. Garry was just switching it up extremely well. This right here is the art of fighting without fighting. So you see Garry just keep circling left and right, and he knows that Prates wants to set his feet and throw punches, but Garry is just not letting him. And even though this is great work, it's exhausting work. And right there you see he goes for a takedown. He's unable to get it. And although he's fighting the perfect fight, this is slowly draining that gas tank like we said. Like we said before, Prates' hands are low, so Garry is able to freely jab him. Prates is going to lower his hands once again to try to bait Garry into overcommitting, but Garry is too smart to fall for it. Beautiful setup by Garry right here. He's going to land the low kick, then he's going to switch it up and go high and land a clean head kick and start opening up. And here Prates just keeps walking forward and keeps getting hit with these pot shots by Garry because he understands the range. Final 10 seconds, Garry is going to look to steal the round by getting flashy, first with this spinning kick to the head, then he's going to throw a spinning kick to the calf, which is a really unique technique that you don't see often. Round 3 starts with Garry doing more of the same, just controlling the range and the tempo of the fight. Garry gets a lot of flack from people saying he's a point fighter and he's not exciting, but the reality is the level of IQ you need to fight the way he does is super high. Then right here, we see again, Prates is able to catch Garry because Garry was looking to feint, and Prates' first reaction wasn't to defend, it was to attack, and that catches Garry off guard. Right here, Garry again looks to switch it up with these takedowns, but this is more exhausting for Garry than it is for Prates. And Prates, once again, is struggling to find the range. This was the best combination of the fight for Garry. So you see Garry is backed up along the fence, right where Prates wants him. So Garry is going to get aggressive and throw punches in bunches. First, he's going to drop his weight, get the outside angle, and throw this right hand. That causes Prates to cover up. Garry is going to come back with a left hook, followed up with another right hand. And you see with the way Prates is guarding, he has that left hand high and that right hand doing a long guard. So Garry is just going to throw this sneaky left uppercut, which actually rocks Prates a little bit. Garry thinks he found something with that left uppercut, so he's going to try it again and extend the combo. Then he's going to do it again when Prates tries to reach and followed up with a high kick. But immediately after, Prates is able to get high hand and catch Garry with the jab. Right here, Garry is going to time another takedown on Prates, and this time he's finally able to get him down. Garry is eventually going to push Prates up against the fence. Then he's going to try to get in a stacked guard, but Prates is able to create some separation momentarily and start building a base to get back to his feet. And even though Garry is the one that was on top, this is still hard work for Garry, and this is no doubt blowing out his arms. And look at how hard Garry is working to try to keep this lock and stay in this position, but Prates is able to turn him. Eventually they break, and it looks like Prates is the slightly fresher fighter. Right here, Prates lands a nice two-piece off the jab of Garry. Great timing by Garry to duck under the left hand once again of Prates and go for the takedown and get it. But Prates is immediately working to get back to his feet. And again, this is sapping the gas tank of Garry. And look at how hard he's working in the final seconds to try to get this takedown. But Prates is able to hook that leg to prevent it. And this was basically the beginning of the end.